As we're configuring fiber channel in our UCS environment, we still need to configure a QoS policy for when that fiber channel is carried over Ethernet. But wait, you say, I'm not running FCoE upstream. I just have native fiber channel going to MDS switches. Well, in a UCS environment, there's a key reason why we still need to configure a QoS policy. So far in this skill, we've started out on the SAN tab for the most part, and today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to start out on the LAN tab, because quality of service is inherently an Ethernet concept, and so that's placed under the LAN tab in UCS Manager. So we're going to start off on the QoS system class settings. And this, by the way, was covered in more detail in the basic networking skill for UCS. So if you haven't checked out that series of nuggets, you might want to do so. It's going to really help understand and unpack these settings, because we're not going to dive deep into all of these. In fact, our focus is going to be down here in the fiber channel row, when we're really not going to pay much attention to anything else in this nugget. So what we're looking at is a few things. For one, we want to note that the default COS tag for fiber channel over Ethernet is 3. Now, if your environment has any existing application that's running COS 3, we want to change this. In fact, we just want to match whatever our FCoE configuration is in the rest of the environment. Now, this is where you stop me again and say, Jeff, I don't have FCoE in my environment. Can I just skip this nugget? And the answer is no, we can't skip this, and there's a big reason why. And it's because of this. When we have the fabric interconnects, and those are connected downstream to UCS servers, like, let's say we have a chassis in our environment, or maybe we have some rack servers, and in your environment, maybe we've got a couple of fiber channel switches up here, and we're just saying, hey, this is native fiber channel. That means no FCoE at all, just fiber channel optics connecting upstream. But wait, look down here. All of these connections down to these servers in a fiber channel environment, these are all running FCoE. This is the great news about UCS. We don't have to connect both fiber channel and Ethernet down to our downstream servers. It's all covered by FCoE, which means a single pair of connections up to each fabric interconnect will do the trick for us. And that greatly simplifies the cabling in our environment. Okay, so now we know why we need to care about these configuration settings, even if we're only doing native fiber channel. So what of these settings do we need to worry about? Well, again, COS we talked about, and okay, so packet drop. Now this, UCS doesn't even allow us to check this box. This enables priority flow control, which, by the way, was covered in more detail in the advanced storage networking skill for UCS. So if you haven't checked that nugget out, or that series of nuggets out, you want to go check that out. This nugget is turning into an advertisement for all of these other skills that we've developed, but all of these tie together. It's very important that we cover all of this in more detail at some point. From there, what we want to do is make sure that this wait is configured with a value that makes sense. In other words, when we enable these COS values, what this does is this validates the wait configuration over on this side. So when we have 4 of these configured, and the weights are all configured for 5, that means that they're all going to be given the same amount of bandwidth right. In other words, out of 100%, each one is going to get 25%. So if I wanted fiber channel over Ethernet to get more bandwidth, then I could increase that value. Really, 25%, 33%, anything probably over 20 is fine here, maybe 20 and up. So just make sure that this weight value right here is high enough that we are giving fiber channel enough bandwidth in the infrastructure. And that's it. That's all we have to do for the QoS system class. So let's go take a look now at how we apply these settings to a particular fiber channel interface. And for that, we're going to come over to the policies section, expand the root, and take a look at QoS policies. Now we want to create a QoS policy that's going to apply to an interface. So we're going to create this QoS policy, and we'll call it something along the lines of QoS-FC. This will remind us that this is a policy for our fiber channel interfaces. And what we want to do is we want to match the system class that we just configured. In this case, it would be FC, so that makes it easy. And we're going to leave the rest of these configurations as their default. No reason to change them for fiber channel. And we click OK. And that's it. We will apply this policy that we've just created to our virtual HBAs once we've created those as part of a service profile. Even if we're using native fiber channel in our environment, we have to configure a QoS policy because UCS uses fiber channel over Ethernet to downstream servers in the environment. Now, in order to configure that QoS policy, we want to make sure that the weight is configured to give the fiber channel over Ethernet sufficient bandwidth, again, aiming to have over 20% there, and then we have to configure a QoS policy that will later apply to a virtual HBA. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.